Your grocery bill doesn't lie. Food prices have skyrocketed by a staggering 33% in just 2 years, and that's only the beginning. Behind the scenes, major supermarket chains are bracing for something much bigger. 12 everyday essentials, items you rely on, could disappear from shelves as early as January 2025. Take the coffee you're sipping right now. It might become a rare luxury soon. Stay with me, because I'm going to reveal which foods are at risk and, most importantly, how to prepare before it's too late. And trust me, number 5 on the list will leave you speechless. The cracks in the global supply chain. Our global supply chain is under immense pressure. Just last month, attacks on cargo ships in the Red Sea forced over 400 vessels to take longer, more expensive routes. Delivery times increased by a staggering 34 weeks. Imagine this. Your favorite food sitting idle on ships, rerouted around Africa, while grocery store shelves remain empty. But logistical issues are only part of the problem. Mother Nature is dealing her own set of challenges. 2024 broke every heat record in the books, and farmers are struggling to keep up. Major agricultural regions are experiencing the worst droughts in 40 years. Take California, for example. The state produces 70% of America's fruits and vegetables, but 20% of its farmland is now unusable due to extreme weather. Transportation isn't faring any better. Diesel prices are up 45% since last winter, forcing trucking companies to cut routes or shut down altogether. Remember Bob's Transport? This 50-year-old family business, responsible for transporting 30% of New England's groceries, closed its doors last month, leaving stores scrambling for alternatives. Why this isn't all bad news. Before you panic, let me share a silver lining. Some companies are already adapting, and there are proactive steps you can take to stay ahead. But first, let's dive into the 12 specific foods most at risk. Starting with a beloved morning staple. 12. Coffee. A brewing crisis. Your morning cup of coffee could soon become a luxury. Brazil, the world's largest coffee producer, is facing its worst drought in 90 years, leaving Arabica plants dying at an unprecedented rate. In December 2024, temperatures in Brazil's coffee regions hit 95 degrees Fahrenheit for 30 consecutive days, far beyond the 85 degrees Fahrenheit threshold where coffee plants stop producing beans. It's not just Brazil. Vietnam, the second largest coffee producer, lost 25% of its Robusta crops to relentless rainfall. The impact? Coffee prices have already jumped 60% since last summer. Even Starbucks has warned investors about severe supply chain challenges in 2025. Small roasters are feeling the heat too. Mike, a local coffee shop owner, shared his frustration. In 15 years of business, I've never seen anything like this. We might have to stop serving certain blends by January. What you can do. If you love coffee, now's the time to stock up. Whole beans can last 6 to 9 months when stored properly. Better yet, you can freeze coffee beans for up to 2 years without sacrificing flavor. Just make sure they're sealed in an airtight container. Remember though, this isn't about hoarding. Buy only what you'll reasonably use. Together, we can weather this storm. 11th. Rice. A staple. Under threat. Rice might seem like an ordinary staple, but it feeds 3.5 billion people worldwide. That's why the current situation is so alarming. In December 2024, India, which accounts for 40% of global rice exports, tightened export restrictions. They're holding on to premium basmati stocks, causing chaos in the global market. Extreme heat waves have devastated crops in India, with yields dropping by 23%. Vietnam and Thailand, other key exporters, are also struggling. As a result, rice prices have hit a 15-year high, soaring 45% since last summer. The consequences are far-reaching, especially for countries that depend heavily on imported rice. For many, this isn't just about inconvenience, it's about survival. How to prepare. If rice is a staple in your household, consider buying in bulk now while prices are still manageable. Properly stored, rice can last for years, making it a reliable option in uncertain times. 1. Coffee. Cause. Worst drought in Brazil in 90 years. High temperatures damaging crops. Impact. Prices up 60%. Supply issues for coffee blends and pods. Action: O. Stock up on whole beans. Last 6 to 9 months or up to 2 years if frozen in airtight containers. O. Avoid panic buying. Purchase only what you can use. 2. Rice. Cause: export restrictions in India. Extreme heat waves reducing yields globally. Impact: prices at a 15-year high. Purchase limits in stores. Action: O. Buy Japanese or Korean short grain rice, likely to vanish first. O. Consider alternatives like quinoa and bulgur, which are still widely available. 3. Olive oil. Cause: drought in Spain and Italy. Worst in 1,200 years, reducing crop output by 50%. Impact: prices up 130%, limits imposed by retailers. Action: O. Stock up on olive oil. Lasts up to 2 years if stored in a cool, dark place. O. Look for bottles with harvest dates rather than expiration dates. 4. Tomatoes. Cause: drought in California and Mexico. Rising fertilizer and energy costs. Impact: prices could rise by 60%. Canned tomato products will get pricier. Action: O. Buy extra canned tomatoes. Last up to 2 years. O. Be mindful of others. Don't overbuy. 5. Eggs. Cause: avian flu reducing laying hens by 23%, farms being wiped out in days. Impact: prices could exceed the 2023 egg crisis, where they hit $7 per dozen. Action: O. Buy eggs locally when possible. O. Consider powdered egg products as an alternative for baking or cooking. Broader supply chain issues. Shipping delays. Attacks on cargo routes force ships to take longer paths, delaying delivery times by weeks. Farming challenges. Extreme weather, droughts, heat waves devastates global agricultural output. Transportation costs. Diesel prices up 45%, leading to route cuts and company closures. General preparation tips. Diversify your pantry with shelf-stable alternatives for at-risk items. Store food in a way that extends its shelf life, e.g., airtight containers, cool and dark areas. Stay informed about local shortages and adjust your purchasing habits accordingly. Avoid hoarding. Focus on sustainable stocking up. 6. Eggs. Cause: O. Avian flu has wiped out 2.3 million birds, equating to a loss of 138 million eggs annually. O. Rising feed costs plus 40% and closure of over 100 small family egg farms in the past 6 months. O. Major producers operating at reduced capacity, 60%, possibly dropping to 45%. O. Global issue. Canada's egg production down 18%, Mexico facing similar outbreaks. Impact: O. Prices expected to reach $9 per dozen for regular eggs and $12 per dozen for organic by January 2025. O. Purchase limits already quietly implemented by retailers like Walmart and Kroger. Action: O. Stock up if eggs are under $5 per dozen. O. Pro tip: beat and freeze eggs in ice cube trays. 1 cube equals 1 egg to preserve them for 6 months. They retain 98% of their nutritional value, confirmed by the American Egg Board. 7. Butter. Cause: O. Heat stress on dairy cows reducing milk production by 7%. O. Drought in New Zealand and Ireland affecting 40% of global butter exports. O. Decline in butter stockpiles to their lowest since 1995. Impact: O. Prices predicted to exceed $7 per pound by the end of the year. O. Holiday baking season will exacerbate shortages. Action: O. Buy extra butter now. It freezes well for up to 6 months. O. Be prepared for limited availability during peak holiday demand. 8. Codfish. Cause: O. North Atlantic cod populations have dropped by 48% since 2019. O. Overfishing and environmental factors have severely impacted fish stocks. Impact: O. Cod is becoming a luxury item, with prices expected to rise steeply. O. Availability for staple dishes like fish and chips will decline. Action: O. Explore alternatives such as pollock, haddock, or plant-based fish substitutes. O. Support sustainable fisheries and look for certified products to help mitigate the issue. Broad insights on food shortages. Worsening trends. Rising temperatures, extreme weather events, and diseases are creating unprecedented challenges for global food security. Price inflation. Expect further spikes in essential food items, especially those tied to global supply chains. How to prepare one. Stock wisely. Focus on freezer-friendly or shelf-stable items like butter, eggs, frozen, and canned goods. 2. Explore substitutes. Be flexible with alternatives for foods like rice, codfish, and butter. 3. Plan ahead. Anticipate holiday or seasonal demand to avoid last-minute shortages. 4. Support. Local. Purchase from small farms and sustainable sources to help offset global supply issues. 5. Reduce waste. Use what you buy effectively to maximize value and minimize food waste. Cause. Fishing quotas slashed by nearly 2/3 in key regions like Norway and Iceland. Warming oceans forcing cod to migrate to deeper, colder waters, leaving traditional fishing spots empty. Many fishing vessels are idle, unable to access the dwindling cod populations. Impact. Cod prices have soared, with fillets jumping from $7.99 per pound to $15.99, and projections indicate $22 per pound by January 2025. Major supermarket chains are beginning to limit cod purchases to 2 packages per customer. Action. Stock. Tip. Freeze cod fillets now if they're a household staple. Alternative options. Try hake or pollock, which are still abundant and taste similar. Sustainability. Tip. Look for line-caught cod from Iceland. These fisheries are likely to maintain supplies even during shortages. 5. Honey. Cause. Beekeepers in the U.S. reported a record 48% colony loss last summer. Wild bee populations have declined by 37% in critical agricultural regions, as per Cornell University. Nectar production from flowers has decreased by 35% since 2020, reducing food for bees. Impact. Raw, pure honey is becoming a luxury item. Major retailers like Costco and Whole Foods have begun limiting honey purchases. Honey prices are projected to increase by 40% by January 2025, making a $5 honey jar cost $7 to $8. Action. Stock. Tip. Buy raw local honey now and store it properly. It never spoils. Pro tip. Support local beekeepers who use natural methods to sustain their hives. Long-term benefit. Stocking honey is an investment. It retains quality indefinitely when stored in a cool, dark place. Fun fact. Scientists found 3,000-year-old honey in Egyptian tombs, and it was still edible. Broader insights. Codfish and honey as indicators. These 2 examples highlight the interconnected nature of environmental stressors, food production challenges, and global markets. Practical adaptation. Emphasize sustainability, local sourcing, and strategic stocking of essentials to weather upcoming shortages. Benefits of local honey. Contains local pollen, believed to help with seasonal allergies. Acts as both a natural sweetener and a potential immune booster. Alternatives to honey. Agave nectar, maple syrup, and date syrup are viable sweeteners but lack honey's unique moisture-retaining and browning properties, especially for baking. Key tip. Real honey adds texture and moisture that alternatives can't replicate, making it irreplaceable for specific recipes. Environmental reminder. The honey crisis highlights the broader issue of declining bee populations, which pollinate 1/3 of our food. Supporting bees supports global food security. Dark chocolate. Crisis factors. Cocoa prices. Surge. Global cocoa prices have reached $88,500 per ton, a 200% increase. West African crisis. Ghana and Ivory Coast, which produce 70% of the world's cocoa, face extreme weather and a disease outbreak, swollen shoot virus, that has destroyed 1/3 of their crops. Impact on consumers. O premium dark chocolate bars, once $3, are projected to cost up to $12 by January 2025. O production may decrease by 40% for major chocolate makers like Hershey and Lindt. Actionable tips. O stock up. Purchase 3 to 4 premium dark chocolate bars and store them in a cool, dark place, up to 8 months shelf life. O alternatives. Explore cocoa substitutes like carob or date powder. 3. Sweet potatoes. Crisis factors. O North Carolina, responsible for 60% of U.S. sweet potatoes, had its worst growing season in 30 years. O global weather disruptions have affected other producers, including China, which reported a 25% drop in yields. Impact on consumers. O prices have already doubled from $1.29 per pound to $2.50 per pound and could rise further. Actionable tips. O stock. Tip. Buy sweet potatoes now and store them in a cool, dark place around 60 degrees Fahrenheit for up to 6 months. O planning ahead. Prepare holiday recipes early to avoid last-minute shortages. 2. Garlic. Crisis factors. O global dependency. 80% of garlic comes from China, but shipping costs have risen 45%, and import tariffs in countries like India and Brazil are creating supply chain issues. O domestic struggles. California, the largest U.S. garlic producer, has seen a 30% production drop due to unusual weather. Impact on consumers. O garlic prices have increased from $1 to $2.50 per bulb, with predictions they could triple by January. Actionable tips. O stock. Tip. Buy garlic in bulk and store it properly in a cool, dry place to last months. O preservation. Tip. Consider freezing or drying garlic to extend its shelf life. Broader takeaway. Adapt and prepare. These food shortages reflect environmental and global trade disruptions. Stocking up, exploring alternatives, and supporting local producers are practical steps to mitigate the impact on your household. Think sustainability. Supporting sustainable practices, such as buying local honey or organically farmed garlic, helps ensure future supply and resilience. Smart shopping tips. O buy whole bulbs. Stock up on whole garlic bulbs, especially those under $3. Stored properly, they can last up to 6 months. O local markets. Look for locally grown garlic at farmers markets, which often has a longer shelf life. O growing garlic. If you find garlic with roots attached, grab it. You can plant it and grow your own supply. Storage tip. O proper storage. Store garlic in a cool, dry place to extend its shelf life. Consider freezing or dehydrating garlic for long-term storage. 2. Orange juice. Crisis factors. O Florida's record. Low harvest. Florida's orange harvest has dropped to its lowest in 87 years due to citrus greening disease, HLB. This tiny bug is causing trees to die off, affecting the size and quality of the fruit. O global impact. While Brazil's crop is also impacted by weather, shipping costs have doubled, making imported orange juice costly. Impact on consumers. O price. Surge. Expect orange juice prices to rise from $1.78 per gallon to $12 by January 2025. Some stores are limiting purchases. Actionable tips. O concentrated juice. Stock up on concentrated orange juice and freeze it. It can last up to a year in your freezer. O alternatives. Try tangerine juice or fortified plant-based drinks, which may become your new go-to morning beverages. Smart alternatives and storage hacks. Alternatives to consider. O coffee. Stock up on instant coffee crystals, which can last up to 20 years if stored properly. O olive oil. Substitute. If you can't find olive oil, consider avocado oil, which has a higher smoke point and is richer in omega-3s. O maple syrup. Great for replacing honey in recipes, and it never spoils. Effective storage tips. O dark chocolate. Keep dark chocolate in the fridge to extend its shelf life from 6 months to 2 years. O butter. Freeze butter in ice cube trays, with each cube equaling 1 tablespoon for easy cooking portions. O vacuum. Sealing. Use vacuum sealers to extend the shelf life of dried goods like rice and coffee. Smart planning. Over-hoarding. Gradual stockpiling. Build a small stockpile by adding just 2 to 3 extra items to your grocery list each time you shop. No need for panic buying. Timing your purchases. Take advantage of holiday sales at major retailers like Walmart and Costco, which may offer discounts before shortages hit. Check production dates. Always check the production date, not just the expiration date, to ensure you're getting the freshest products with the longest shelf life. Preparedness is key. Instead of hoarding, focus on smart planning and gradual stocking. Community support. Share your knowledge with others. Your smart storage tips can help the entire community stay prepared. If this advice helped, consider liking, commenting, and subscribing for more practical tips and updates. Be prepared and stay smart, especially as we cover crucial information about water supplies next week.